One wrong move, and he would get completely destroyed. A man faced an army far larger than his own.
Is he crazy?
His enemies looked at him and thought he was crazy. He trusted God even against all odds. But as he was fighting, the enemies looked at him and realized he was a complete monster. Israel had once been one kingdom under King Solomon. After Solomon died, his son Rehoboam became king. The people asked Rehoboam to make their heavy work easier, but he refused and threatened to make it even harder. Most of the nation rejected him and chose a new king named Jeroboam. Jeroboam ruled Israel in the north, while Rehoboam kept Jerusalem and ruled Judah in the south. The two kingdoms soon became enemies. When Rehoboam died, his son Abijah became king of Judah. Jeroboam had ruled Israel for 18 years, making him far more experienced than the new king of Judah. He also ruled over more land and more people. Rehoboam's death did not bring peace, so Abijah inherited both his father's kingdom and his war with Jeroboam. The war was not only about land. God's temple was in Jerusalem, inside Judah, and the people of Israel were supposed to worship there. But Jeroboam did not want his people traveling into Judah, so he made golden calves and told them to worship those instead. He also removed the priests and Levites who refused to follow him and chose new priests to replace them. Many of the rejected priests left Israel and moved to Judah. Abijah ruled Judah, where Jerusalem and God's temple were. Jeroboam ruled the larger northern kingdom of Israel. Neither king was willing to give up, and both prepared for a much bigger war. Abijah sent orders across Judah, calling every available fighting man to join him. Soldiers arrived from different parts of the kingdom. Then commanders counted them and placed them into groups. Jeroboam called soldiers from across his larger kingdom, and 800,000 men answered him. His army was twice the size of Abijah's, which gave Israel a clear advantage before the battle had even begun. When the numbers reached Judah, every commander understood what they were facing. Abijah still gave the order to march, so Judah's soldiers left their towns and traveled north into land controlled by Jeroboam. The priests went with them, carrying the sacred trumpets God had commanded Israel to use during war. As the army moved deeper into the hills, scouts traveled ahead and returned with reports about Jeroboam's position. Every report brought the same warning. Israel's army covered a much wider area, and thousands of soldiers were still waiting behind its front lines. Jeroboam could attack in several places at once, while Abijah had to keep his smaller army close together. If Judah spread out too far, Israel could move through the gaps and divide them. Jeroboam approached from the other direction, leading his army toward Mount Zemaraim. His commanders placed soldiers across the hills, then kept more men behind them. When Judah finally came close enough to see the full army, Israel's lines stretched far beyond both sides of their own. Abijah's commanders placed Judah's soldiers into position, while the priests stood among them with their trumpets. The men prepared their shields and waited for the order to fight. Across from them stood an army twice their size, ready to move as soon as Jeroboam gave the command. Before the battle began, Abijah climbed Mount Zemaraim and stood where the Israelites could see him. Instead of ordering an attack, he called out, "Jeroboam and all Israel, listen to me." Abijah began by reminding them of the promise God had made to David. God had chosen David's family to rule, and Abijah was one of David's descendants. The Lord, the God of Israel, gave the kingdom to David and his descendants forever, Abijah said. He then spoke directly about Jeroboam. Jeroboam had once served Solomon, but after Solomon died, he rebelled against Rehoboam and took most of the kingdom from David's family. Rehoboam had been unable to stop him, so Israel and Judah remained divided. Abijah told the soldiers that Jeroboam's rebellion had not removed God's promise to David. Israel had more men, but having the larger army did not give Jeroboam the right to rule Judah. Abijah then pointed to the golden calves Jeroboam had made. Jeroboam had removed God's priests and replaced them with men of his own choosing. And he had changed Israel's worship because he feared losing control of the people. Now Israel had brought those golden calves with them into the war. Then Abijah spoke about Judah. The priests from Aaron's family still served at the temple. Sacrifices were still presented every morning and evening, and the sacred trumpets were standing with Judah's army. The Lord is our God, and we have not abandoned him, Abijah said. God is with us, and he is our leader. Abijah then gave Israel one final warning. People of Israel, do not fight against the Lord, the God of your ancestors, because you will not succeed. Below the hill, soldiers from both kingdoms remained in position as Abijah spoke. Judah's men listened from one side, while Israel's army waited on the other. No one had attacked yet, but Jeroboam was not using the time to reconsider Abijah's warning. He was watching Judah's position and preparing to use the delay against them. While Abijah was speaking, Jeroboam began preparing a trap.
Before we continue, these videos takes hours and hours to make. Please like and subscribe and comment which country you are watching this from. Also, any donation helps us create more of these stories. So if you could donate a super thanks, we would be very grateful.
He kept his main army in front of Judah, where Abijah and his soldiers could see it, then quietly sent another force through the hills. These men moved around Judah's position and traveled toward the road behind them. Jeroboam kept his main line still, making it appear that he was waiting for Abijah to finish. This gave the hidden soldiers enough time to reach Judah's rear without being noticed. Once they reached the road, they spread out and blocked the only clear path back toward Judah. Abijah finished his speech and returned to his army, still expecting the attack to come from the front. Then soldiers near the back heard movement behind them. They turned and saw thousands of Israelites taking positions along the road. The warning moved quickly through Judah's army. Jeroboam's main army stood ahead of them, and his hidden force had closed in behind them. Judah was surrounded. Abijah could not order a retreat because the road was already blocked. If his soldiers focused on the main army, the hidden force could attack their backs. But if they all turned around, Jeroboam could strike from the front. Abijah divided his soldiers between the two sides, then ordered them to hold their positions. Jeroboam gave the command, and Israel moved forward from the front and rear at almost the same time. Abijah's commanders rushed men toward the places under the greatest pressure, while the first ranks raised their shields against Jeroboam's main force. The attack pushed against both ends of Judah's army. Soldiers at the front tried to hold back Jeroboam, while those at the rear fought to keep the hidden force from entering the middle. If either side broke, Israel could divide Judah's army and attack the remaining groups from every direction. The priests raised their sacred trumpets and blew them across the battlefield, giving the entire army one signal to follow. Abijah's soldiers answered with a great shout, then charged the Israelites, pressing toward them. Jeroboam's main force attacked from the front, while the hidden soldiers pushed forward from behind. Abijah moved more men toward the rear, but he could not leave the front unprotected. Judah had to push one force away while stopping the other from moving any closer. The priests continued blowing their trumpets as the battle spread across both sides of Judah's position. Soldiers who could not see Abijah could still hear the signal, so they stayed with their groups and kept fighting. The rear line moved toward the blocked road, while the soldiers in front held their ground against Jeroboam's larger force. Judah gained only a little ground at first, but the soldiers kept pushing together. Each step opened more space behind them, allowing other men to move forward and join the attack. Jeroboam's hidden force tried to close the gap, but it could no longer keep control of the road. Then, the battle began to turn. 2 Chronicles says that when Judah shouted, God defeated Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah. The soldiers behind Judah started losing their positions, and Abijah's men forced their way through the line that had trapped them. Once the road opened, more soldiers joined the attack and pushed Jeroboam's hidden force farther back. At the same time, Israel's main army failed to break through Judah's front line. Jeroboam ordered his men to continue forward, but the two sides of his trap were no longer moving together. When the soldiers behind Judah began to retreat, the other Israelites saw them leaving their positions. Confusion spread through the army, and groups that had entered the battle together began moving in different directions. Jeroboam could no longer keep his enormous force under control. Abijah saw what was happening and ordered Judah to press forward. His soldiers broke out from between the two armies, then attacked before Jeroboam could rebuild his lines. More Israelites turned and ran until the retreat spread across the battlefield. Judah pursued the fleeing army, and 2 Chronicles records that 500,000 chosen men from Israel fell during the battle. Abijah still had enough soldiers to continue the campaign, while Jeroboam's forces were badly weakened. Before Israel could recover, Abijah moved farther into the northern kingdom and attacked several towns under Jeroboam's control. One of those towns was Bethel, where Jeroboam had placed one of his golden calves. Abijah captured Bethel, 2 other towns and the villages around them. Jeroboam had lost most of his army, and now he was losing land as well. Jeroboam remained king of Israel, but he did not recover his former strength during Abijah's reign. He could no longer gather the same kind of force against Judah, while Abijah returned home with more territory under his control. Abijah became more powerful in Judah, and his family grew. 2 Chronicles records that he had 14 wives, 22 sons and 16 daughters. However, 1 Kings gives another detail about his reign. Abijah continued in the sins his father had committed, and his heart was not fully devoted to God as David's heart had been. Abijah ruled Judah for only 3 years. When he died, his people buried him in Jerusalem, in the city of David. His son Asa became king of Judah after him.
These videos takes hours and hours to make. Please like and subscribe and comment which country you are watching this from. Also, any donation helps us create more of these stories. So if you could donate a super thanks, we would be very grateful.